This is Vintage Henshin On Location, a travelogue series focused on tokusatsu-related events that yours truly and those associated with us are able to attend. And we're kicking things off with an event from this past weekend that has left the collective Power Ranger fandom scratching their heads. When I first heard about the Power Rangers Power Up Tour, I was just going through random ads on Instagram, and it just came out, and it was incredibly vague. I was kind of debating whether or not to go, but then my modem died, and I realized I had nothing better to do while I waited for the replacement to arrive, so yeah, I ended up going. It wasn't massive, it's just the main stage, and it's flanked on either side by the Lightning Reflex training booth machine, whatever, which is basically a game for kids to slap buttons and compete for the fastest time, and a coloring area where kids would be given these Power Ranger template mats that they could fill in with whatever they wanted. But unfortunately, there wasn't much foresight with these things because the kids would put them on and then immediately start flipping around, trying to recreate the actions of their heroes. Yeah, there were no eye holes. You had about an 85% chance of having a kid running into you full speed. That happened to me. I was kind of a lightning rod for a couple of kids who just ran right into me and just wiped out. And the live show sees the Red, Black, and Pink Rangers basically being alternate versions of Jason, Zach, and Kimberly, ultimately training the audience to join them in battle to save the day. Either way, it all builds to the big climax in which our three heroes have to fight an army of invisible putties.
That's right. Lord Zed must have gotten his hands on an invisibility server for his Z-Cleanse. How are we supposed to fight them off?
But the palm and kick strike combination that the audience was just taught is now going to come in handy because it's alluded that the audience is going to be fighting invisible putties that they can't see. I'm still giggling at the exact moment when it sank in that this was going to be happening. And the meet and greet is not the main three Rangers who you were with for the whole live show. Instead, it's yellow and blue. And what was interesting was when I posted about this on Twitter, someone pointed out that the suits that were being used are supposedly the Toei commission suits that appeared on Megaforce. If anyone in the comments can help verify this, that would be wonderful. I guess one of the indicators was the fact that Trini had a skirt for her suit where she normally didn't. Also, shout out to the live show Kimberly, who unfortunately, her suit actress, her helmet was a little too big, so it looked like she had no neck at all whatsoever. But I think the fact that she was short actually worked for this incarnation of the character, who was just a total jokester with dad-level humor. I was absolutely here for this depiction. Please bring her back, or at least file the serial numbers off so she can appear in another show.
What kind of bird steals shampoo?
Please stop.
A rubber ducky.
Even with the laughably bad bits, it still was a good time for the kids. I had a big dumb smile on my face by the end of it. I talked to a friend of mine shortly afterward, and I told him about the invisible putty thing, and he basically said something to the effect of, if it was anyone other than Power Rangers that did that, I would have been upset. And at the same time, you've also got people who will probably tell you, well, it's a mall event. What are you expecting? This isn't going to be this big lavish Cirque du Soleil affair. And I get it. And so all those things were forgivable. It was a good time. But when you start becoming an adult again and you start thinking about a few things, the logistics of this event don't add up. And that's why the fandom is scratching its head right now. Big thing is that this tour came out the weekend before the premiere of Power Rangers Once and Always, the big 30th anniversary special. There's no promotion of it at all whatsoever. Nothing. Not even a poster. The MC doesn't even mention it. The only real promotion of it is in the pressers that went out to local news outlets, which mentioned not only that, but Cosmic Fury. It was baffling. But then speaking of promotions, Hasbro didn't even advertise this anywhere. I'm actually recording this the afternoon after the big Hasbro Power Rangers 30th anniversary fan stream, which I was hoping there would be some type of mention of it and be like, oh, it makes sense. Milwaukee was first. It just, the timing was off. So now you're going to have the rest of the leg of the tour being revealed. Well, no, it wasn't revealed at all whatsoever. And yeah, it's just super confusing. This thing is just going to show up when you least expect it. But thankfully, it's one of those events that it's not the end of the world if you miss it, which I guess is also the attitude that Hasbro is taking. But for what it is, it's still a fun time. I would not take the day off for this unless you have little ones who love Power Rangers and would love a good time out. Really, I would love to see more stuff like this. Granted, it's probably me just wanting more karate bugmen out in the wild. I just wish it was promoted better because it could really be something special. But until then, if you need me, I'm gonna be putting another ice pack on my knee. Those little kids, I swear to Sibaraya, they're like little high-speed linebackers.